I am not the presenter. I am just presenting the presentation because I've got somebody who can tell it like it is, knows the business.
Oh, who's that?
Not me.
Toby Scott.
Oh, he's going to be there.
No, he's already there.
Okay.
Because I am terrified of cryptoviruses. And when you walk away today, I hope you walk away with a sad face like you've been to a horror movie.
Don't give me that.
I'm going to give it to you. Because what we have in cryptoviruses and ransomware is something that once you get it, there's nothing you can do. If you get caught with a ransomware, I don't even want you calling and telling me. I don't care. Because there is nothing, absolutely nothing that I can do, or Jim can do, or David can do, or John can do. Absolutely nothing. Oh, I'm going to take those up. Because when they crypt up your files, they're crypted so hard, no one is going to get it undone.
Except for paying ransom.
Well, you pay ransom, and are you going to get it? Who knows? So we're going to, Toby Scott is kind of an expert on this. In fact, he is an expert enough that one of his clients got caught with it because they wouldn't listen. And so I want you to listen and get the word out. Afterwards, we're going to watch another video where you're going to see a cryptovirus in action, and when you see how quick it spreads, you're going to walk out of here. I mean, my heart goes out to everybody who's not doing what they should be doing.
Don't you have to just back it up? Back up your files and all of that?
No.
Ira? Yes, but are they backing up their files?
Well, they should be. I'm glad.
They should be, but are they?
I don't know.
No.
Well, you really need to do more than that. You need to you need to create an entire image in your hard drive.
If you don't have to have that now.
You don't.
Because Windows 10, if you're Windows 10, it's out there. Anybody can download Windows 10. You need to have a key to activate it, is the question. So you can reinstall your operating system. It's the files that you can't. Because any program that's on your computer, you can reinstall those. It's your files.
Right.
So Toby does a really great job. I'm wearing my APCUG shirt today because as one of our benefits of being a member group, and I have to say this as a plug because people say, well, how do I join? None of you can join APCUG. It is not an individual's organization. It is a group of computer clubs. So we as a club belong. And as part of our benefits, and I'm doing this because I am your regional advisor now, inherited that job, our Speakers Bureau, we have access to hundreds of presenters like Toby and whatever that will do presentations for your club, like over Zoom and Skype. We have access to hundreds of videos that were presentations that people have recorded, such as this one. All of those are benefits that we have. And it's for our measly $50 a year. When you divide that up and see what all we get. Plus, Rich, as the editor of the newsletter, he gets sent to him umpteen articles a year that we can reuse in our newsletter to send out. So this is definitely a benefit to use, so you know that your $50 is going somewhere for good. So Toby do the talking. Because, Ira, I say things, people don't listen to me. So I'm going to see if maybe you listen to somebody else, maybe somebody will listen. Yeah?
Did anyone happen to see NBC's special the other morning on the cryptoviruses? The head of security sent fake viruses to 3 of his top security people, and he made himself a new email address. He put a link in it and told them if they would click on it, he was going to get them a new smartphone, each one of them. All they had to do was click on the virus, on the link, on the virus. All 3 of them clicked on it and started to fill out the information.
What are they doing? What are they doing in that position?
This is why I said, you're going to walk away. One quick thing. This is because of the WannaCry ransom cryptovirus. We're not necessarily going to be talking about that because this came out, the presentation was at the same time it was going on. But it's the same process, whatever. It's these viruses that encrypt you, and so we'll hear Toby do it. But I decided that after this, because I really don't want to hear that somebody in our club gets hit with this. I won't sleep at night knowing that they did, because I'm going to wonder, where did we fail? Where did we fail? So this is Toby. He's from Channel Islands. He's a tech guru, has a business. You're not supposed to be serious.
We're going to talk about cryptoviruses, which is a relatively new genre of virus. It started around 2008 or 9.
Nancy, can you hear?
They were embryonic and didn't work very well. But in 2013, the game changed a lot. We're going to talk about the relatively modern ones. The basic thing for a cryptovirus is it's a virus that when it's installed on your computer, it tries to find all your data files, and then it's going to encrypt them with a strong encryption key. Now, if any of you have done crypto puzzles and crossword puzzle books, that's substituting one character for another. Strong encryption key uses the 256 characters in the standard bytecode, and then they rotate those and change them, and it's almost impossible. They estimate it would take like 100 centuries in order to crack some of these by brute force. So without the key, you won't get your data back. So anyway, and once they've encrypted them, they will leave you a message demanding payment, and they usually want it to be a Bitcoin in order to unlock their data. Now, cryptovirus is a form of ransomware. The older form, they used to pop up a thing saying your computer's infected, dial this number in order to get uninfected, and when in fact the only encryption around, the only problem you had was the one web page was popping up the warning. And it would, have fancy countdowns how many viruses they found and how many problems they had. So it's basically just a form of scareware. But the really dangerous one is the cryptovirus. Both of these, they require a ransom in order for you to fix the problem. Okay, well, how will you know if you get a cryptovirus? Well, it won't be difficult. First of all, the virus will cryptolock all your data files you can't open them. So when you click on something, it doesn't open up. And it can take up to 3 days to do the full encryption. But then when you get done, you'll see something like, okay, and this is the crypto locker, which was Genesis for the modern version of 2013, September 2013. And this was what it would look like. And all of the ones since then are somewhat related. They tell you your personal files are encrypted at the top. They tell you that the private key will be destroyed, and they'll give you a date certain. Typically, it's 3 days. And then the original cryptovirus actually had a countdown. If this were a live JIT file, that 955635 in yellow that you see right here would be counting down. The second would be ticking off in order to attempt to get you to be hasty about paying them money. Also, they would increase the amount of money that you needed. They still do. The longer it takes you to get to them, the more expensive it becomes. In many cases, different hackers do it differently, but that tends to be what you get. Now, the original CryptoLocker wanted you to pay with money orders and all kinds of things, which were too easily tracked. And so since then, they've all switched to Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. There are a couple out with different cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin. Now, who's been hit by these? Well, you can see the list. I got 6 of the bigger, more splashy ones who paid thousands and thousands of dollars. But anyway, that's the first thing. But the ones down at the bottom are the more interesting. On the Chinese government website, BBC, AOL, and New York Times all had infection. So that if you went to their sites and you clicked on something you shouldn't have, then you would get a cryptovirus. Now you go, well, how in the world did BBC and AOL and New York Times do this? And the answer is, on the pages, they run ads, usually in boxes on the right-hand side. And they're ad companies that lease space and for so many clicks. And they will then put different ads in the boxes depending on what they think you might like. And, they do all the following who you are, the stuff out of your cookies and so on. They'll put up whatever they think you would like. And the hackers would then trick the advertising companies, not BBC, AOL, or New York Times, but the advertising companies providing the ads. And so if you clicked on what the BBC, AOL, New York Times, and others had thought were legitimate ads, they weren't. They had tricked a less scrupulously scrubbed advertising company. Those mostly have gone away. Most of the time now, when you get tricked in a website, the website's probably not the one you should have gone to in the first place. But you need to be aware that it's possible anywhere. So anyway, you want to know how profitable it is? Well, ransomware spiked 6,000% in 2016, and that might be conservative. 40% of all email had ransomware. These are all fairly large statistics gathered from Gmail and other large email providers. The next one, I don't really know. CNBC says 70% of the businesses paid hackers for decryption, and 20% paid more than $40,000. Not sure about those numbers, but nonetheless, it's a lot. And there are a whole bunch of industry estimates that say that the total payments in 2016 amounted to more than $1 billion. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but it's a whole lot of money. And if it isn't $1 billion, it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of. That makes a nice, round, easy to publicize number to get clicks on the website. Anyway, question that comes up is, well, why can't law enforcement just get rid of it? Well, first of all, there are only a few creators of cryptovirus script, maybe 25 in the world. But the cryptovirus creators never use the software themselves. They lease it out by inviting hackers in the dark web, the parts of the web you can't see very easily unless you go onto the Tor network. They invite hackers to share with their scripts. And so the 25 cryptovirus scripts that are out there are then morphed by thousands of, and we'll call them hackers, but they're really not, who put a wrapper on the original script. And they need no significant computer programming skills. In fact, if they're a good programmer, they're probably not a good cryptovirus hacker. Because what they want you to do is to click on a link or do something else that's stupid. And they do that by trying to panic you, trying to entice you, trying to make, excite your sense of greed. But whatever they do, it's called social engineering. And the guys who are really good at this are like psychologists who understand how you think and how you can be tricked into doing things. The amount of computer skills necessary to put the wrapper on, they do a cookbook on it. It's pretty easy to do. A 14-year-old with moderate computer skills can do that easily. Again, the big thing is that it's how do they trick you? Are they any good? Do they have good tricking skills, not programming skills? But the antiviruses can't get it because the 25 cryptovirus scripts give rise to thousands and thousands of viruses, and most of these last less than a month. They will come out with it for a month. Once they've been tracked down and people start to figure out what they're doing, they close it up and then they rewrite the script and they do it, try and trick it a different way. So it's almost impossible. Law enforcement has taken down several of the sites last year about this time. They took down the Lockheed network. Lockheed Cryptovirus was accounting for more than half of the stuff out there, the cryptovirus out there. They took them down. It made a dent in it, but all that happened is the other 24 cryptovirus writers became more significant in the server CERBPR, and several others came to the fore to replace the Lockheed. And again, the cryptovirus community, the attacking community, goes on my side. And put these into the families of who the creator of the virus is, rather than trying to keep track of all of the different guys who put them out there. But it's just a Hydra type problem. Every time you cut off one head, 1,000 more appear. So it's been very, very difficult for law enforcement. The most common viruses are delivered via email zip files. And in point of fact, I received one today. When I was setting up to click on the, how to go in to do this program, I had received two emails. One was how to join the APSA Zoom program, and the other one was a zip file with no message in it, just a zip file. Like I'm going to be stupid enough to open up the zip file, but I can pretty well guarantee you that was, had I clicked on the zip, it would have crypto encoded my whole presentation today, and it would have been a demonstration probably I didn't want to do. But anyway, it's really easy to get it. The infected websites, we talked about that a little bit, right? The BBC, AOL, New York Times, and others have been hit, but also just sites that will pay, they pay to put themselves up at the top of website searches, and you click on them instead of going to the real ones, and then they've got viruses and they trick you. Those get taken down, but you take them down and 100 more replace them. So, they've also started delivering this thing by crafting remote desktop logins for primarily Windows servers, Windows computers. And those are really nasty. That's what I got hit with, or my customer got hit with. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But remote desktop, if you use it, go back and start looking at fixing that. Infected email PDF files are starting to come out. This is a new one, and this is the resurrection of Lockheed. Most of the Lockheed viruses that are coming out now that they have recreated the infrastructure that was taken down a year ago. They're sending out PDF files. You click on the PDF file to open it. It says, I want to open a Word document file. You open the Word document file. If you have UAC turned on, user account control turned on, it'll say you want to run a script. If you don't have UAC turned on, it just runs a script in the background. And that will, of course, affect you. And then the one that's kind of nasty now is if you have phones, either Android or iPhone, you can go to the stores and you can download apps and you can install them, and they will be virus-free. But when they come out with version 2 of the app and it pops up, then it says there's an update to your app. You want to install it. Those don't go to the Google Store and they go to the hacker's site, and they have been installing cryptoviruses on phones and tablets this way. And it's pretty nasty. Then, of course, email attachments with Word and Excel files, and those, anyway, those are the way to get it. So the platforms have been targeted: Windows XP, anything XP or later, including all server variants, Macs, Linux, Oracle databases, Android phones and tablets, Apple phones and tablets. Means pretty much everybody. Well, I don't know, if you're still running a BlackBerry, maybe you're not at risk. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, how do you protect yourself? Because you're going to need to, unfortunately. First of all, protection comes in layers. First step is do not get infected in the first place. Okay, first rule, and this is going to be very tough for everybody: never open an email attachment again. Don't open it. Okay, now there may be a few exceptions to that. I have a customer who's their salesman and their sales marketing department sends out email attachments every day for them to work on for the day's work. They can work from home. Okay, but at least you know who it's coming from, and it's probably not going to be an encrypted virus. So, but other than that, don't click on it. Okay, for heaven's sakes, don't click on the links in email. Both of these, you'll get stuff that says it's from your bank. Whatever your bank is, they send them out with every bank name. They use the bank logos. They use all this stuff. They try to make it look like the real bank attachment, the real bank email. But they will tell you there's a problem with your thing, or you have a deposit, or this or that, or anything, get you to click on the link in the email. You don't have to. Just open up your browser, your Chrome, your Firefox, your Edge, your Safari, whatever browser you're using. Go to the bank the normal way, log in. If there's anything there that really needs your attention, they'll have a splash page up that'll tell you, oh, you have a problem with your account or whatever. But whatever you do not click on the links in the email, and don't click on the email attachments. We all have friends who send out just piles and piles of cute videos and cute stuff, and you just click on the link in the email. And unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, you need to start turning that off. Just don't do it. Because it only takes one of those guys to sneak a link into a site you don't want to go to, and you're going to be in trouble. So, anyway, email, read the emails. Whatever it tells you to do it in a browser. Don't click on anything in the email. And that's got to become a habit. I know it's nasty, but that's the way it is. Okay. If you click on a link in a web page and it wants to install anything, or it tells you, your Adobe Acrobat's not up to date, or you need a new version of Flash, or you need anything, doesn't matter what it is it says you need. Okay. Do not try to shut the page down by clicking in the corner or clicking on the X or any of that stuff, because the page is hacked. And one of the things that they will do is they will put a transparent link above the X in the corner of the browser, so that if you click on it, it says, yes, I want to install the virus. Okay? Now you can't see it, but it's there. So, what you want to do, if you're using Windows, Alt F4 will shut the page down immediately. Just do Alt F4. Program Manager, you go Control Alt Delete, go to Program Manager, and you go turn off Chrome, Firefox, whatever the browsers. Shut them off. Do not click on links trying to shut them off. You may create a bigger problem than you had to begin with. Okay? So, that was a tough one, because people start to do things without thinking. And they will try to panic you into doing things without thinking. So your best protection is stop and think. Your brain is the best protection. But if your brain panics, it's your worst enemy. So, anyway, if a PDF asks for permission to open a Word or Excel document, click no and delete the PDF. I really don't care what the PDF is. It has no business trying to open up other programs. And if an office scripts, click no and delete the document. And again, there are a few exceptions, like my salesman client who gets one every day and it's got a whole bunch of scripts and you got to click on yes to run the script. But he knows it comes from the home office and so on. But other than that, if there's a 1 in a million chance that it's a fake, don't click. I mean, really, it's serious. Okay, this one's for Windows only, I think. But if you use the Adobe Reader for PDF files, do this, and you can do it now while we're talking. Maybe open the Adobe PDF Reader, click on Edit, and then Preferences. In other categories, there's a long list on the left. Select Trust Manager, it's the bottom one. And then uncheck, allow opening of non-PDF file attachments with external applications. Why in the world they default to allowing PDF to open up everything else, Pandora's box of unknown programs? Why they would allow that by default, I have no idea. I think Adobe is criminally negligent, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, click OK to confirm your unchecked. And anyway, if you use other default applications for PDFs, do a search to see whether you can disable it. There are hundreds of them out there. I don't know how to do all of them, but certainly the Adobe Reader, which a lot of people, I think most Windows users use, that one's easy to fix. So anyway, okay, now hopefully we've given you some tools for not clicking on anything to start the application of the cryptovirus. But in the event that you do get a cryptovirus, for all of your care, now you need to protect yourself. Now for Windows, you can use the Windows backup or a third-party program. Acronis has been very good to user groups, and it's an excellent backup program. I would encourage anybody to support Acronis because they support the user group community. But you can use Windows backup or whatever. For Macs, you can use a Time Machine. For Linux, whatever your distro tends to put out, or you can do anything there. And there are cryptoviruses for Linux. Anyway, do a full system backup, sometimes called an image backup, and do it onto a removable hard drive. Don't use a flash drive, use a removable hard drive. The reason for that is, first of all, most flash drives aren't anywhere near large enough. You might have a terabyte hard drive, you might have 300 gigabytes on it. And in order to do full system backups, and then to do incremental backups after that, you need probably the 750 gigabyte hard drive. And you may find a flash drive that's that big, but it'll be very expensive. And trying to do a restore from a flash drive is possible, but it's really tricky. You're much better off to do the full system backup on a removable drive. You can get USB backup drives for about $100, and you need one that's a little bit larger than your basic hard drive or hard drive if you have more than one. But do your full system backup onto that. When you have finished doing that, unplug the drive and put it in a safe place, not connected to your computer. And the reason for that is, and we talked about that before, if the hacker can see your hard drive, he can encrypt it. So if you leave it plugged in, your backup will get encrypted, which will make it pretty much useless. Okay, now once you back up your computer, if you make any significant changes to the programs and apps on your computer, then redo the update or update the backup. Most of the image backup program will allow you to do an update to the image, and it'll do an add-on. You'll be good to go. So that in the event you had to restore the basic operating system of your computer, you would then be able to restore all of your programs and all of your settings. But then again, once you've done that, unplug them. And then make sure your phones and tablets are syncing with the cloud. I don't care whether it's Android cloud or Google cloud or Apple cloud. But make sure that they are syncing to the cloud so that your system is backed up. And make sure that you have copies of those. You then copy them down to your main computer, assuming you have one. Okay. Cloud backups are too slow for system restores, so don't try to back up your full system with the cloud. I don't care what cloud you have. I've got a terabyte of backup on the Microsoft cloud, but it's too slow. I would never ever think of backing up the whole thing. If I ever had to restore from the cloud, it would take days. But not a useful solution. Okay. Once the operating system is safe, you still will need to back up the data that changes daily or every few days, however active you are. For computer users, best solution is to buy and install an automatic backup program like Carbonite or those. Those will run in the background. The thing that's interesting about them is that they have a login built in, but the login is your Mozy or Carbonite username and password. It's not username and password you log in your computer with. So a hacker can't see them, and if you haven't been stupid enough to put a link on your desktop that the Mozy Carbonite password is XYZ, they can't get to it. So those work very, very well. Now, one thing that will happen is if you get a cryptovirus, Carbonite, Mozy, or anybody else that's kind of a backup, will give you a really nice copy of all your crypto log files. But these guys all have versioning. Mozy Kryptonite will back up every version of every file for 90 days. So even if you don't get a virus, if you accidentally mess up a file, you can go into those programs and go, give me last Tuesday's version of the file, and it'll back it up and restore it to your hard drive, and you're off and running with a copy of it that you can use. And both of the programs and most of the other programs that are similar to them will make copies of every single change in a file you do for a period of time, 30 to 90 days typically. And so those are golden for those of you who have really useful, important, valuable files and want to keep track of when they change. Okay. If you get an Office 365 subscription, the Office Personal 365 comes with a terabyte cloud backup for one user, but you can put it on your tablet, your phone, your desktop, your laptop. It'll allow you to do, I think, 5 installs. The Office 365 Home will allow you to have a terabyte of cloud backup for 5 users. That would be a family of 5 or whatever, and they each get a terabyte. And again, they do versioning pretty well so that you can set them up and use them and have pretty good backup of your data. As long as the next line, you can configure your OneDrive, that's the Microsoft Drive backup program. You configure your OneDrive, you put all your data in it, you migrate your My Document folder and My Photos and so on into the OneDrive, and then all your data will be put into it. OneDrive is fairly much like Dropbox or other online programs. You can also, if you're in the Google ecosystem, if you're an Android phone and you don't use the Microsoft Office, you just use the Google Office stuff, you can use the Google Drive, but Google Drive for free only comes with 15 gigabytes of data. In this day and age, most of us have more than that photos. So you may need to buy space. You can buy space relatively inexpensively, and you can back up everything there. But Google Drive or OneDrive will work. They are, in the event of a cryptovirus, their solutions are nowhere near as convenient as Carbonite or Mozy. And again, if you're not into buying the expensive OneDrive or the expensive update to Google Drive for the amount of space you need, Carbonite and Mozy may very well be better for you. Anyway, and there are other cloud systems that have versioning, but the one thing you want to make sure is that they keep versions at least a month out. So anyway, but somehow or other, you've got to back up the data. Now, if you don't want to do cloud backups, you can do it yourself, but I'm just telling you, human nature doesn't work very well with this. You can get several large flash drives, you can rotate them, and you can do manual backups on them. You got to remember to plug them in, you got to remember to do manual backups. Manual backups take a little bit of time. And human nature being what it is, you'll do it for a couple of weeks, and then 6 months from now, when you get the virus, you've got 6-month-old data. And we get guys in the shop all the time. They go, yeah, I got a backup. And you go, well, okay, where is it? Yeah, I don't know how recently I did it. And you go look at it, 6 months or a year old. Manual backups the manualizing of your backup tends to get old over time, and it tends to be deductive. Human nature I don't like that as a solution. You can do it, and if you have the stick-to-itiveness to do it for forever, bless you, but I don't, and most people don't. So anyway, one of the popular network things, and this is what we had for our server that got hacked, network-attached storage, and guess what? Ours got crypto locked. Yep. And so, for those of you who don't know what it is, network-attached storage is it has like a computer minimal system, and then a bunch of hard drive space on it. And you plug it into a network, and then all the computers on your network can back up to it, and you can share files off of it a little slower than a real computer. But anyway, but it's called network-attached storage. It just means you plug it into your network and everybody can see it. Unfortunately, so can the virus see it, and that's what messed up our backup program. Now, there are ways around it to hide your network-attached storage device. I am not going into it right now, but there are some ways, but you just be real careful and whatever. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, now, what do the viruses look like? This is the one that I got, and this is a non-important folder within the customer's thing. I blacked out and whited out the user's name. But anyway, this is what it'll look like before the modern virus when they encrypt you. And so the .NET folder, that's the third white one down. The text ID is for the hacker to decrypt it, and then that number after it is an encryption number that you have to have in order to decrypt the file, and it's unique to your encryption. Every computer that they encrypt has a different one of those to make it much tougher for anybody to decrypt it. The mksmoke@AOL.com actually was an email address that worked for about 3 or 4 days before AOL shut it down. But I did communicate with the guy. I wasn't going to pay him, but I did communicate with him, see how it worked, and start my journey on this. And this is a .wallet, which is one of the Dharma. That's the family, and the .wallet is a variant of the Dharma family. Basically, so far, this one, nobody's figured out how to crack it. Some people are theorizing they're never going to be able to figure out how to crack it, which is just lovely because while we had our critical data backed up on Mozy, we didn't have everything backed up, and of course, people were putting stuff where they probably shouldn't have them. And you get 25 users in an office, and who knows what happens. Anyway, so miscellaneous information. Nearly all of the variants of crypto will lock up all the data they can find, including all forms of backup. I have even read on in the Dharma.wallet place that I'm going to get information on it, that when they couldn't get into the backup file, the hacker was able to format the hard drive and wipe out the backup that way. That seems kind of extreme, but nonetheless, that has been reported as having happened. Most of them will disable the antivirus programs, at least they try to. Generally speaking, they go create firewall rules that prevent the antivirus from doing much of anything. And then the hackers migrate to the most lethal package. In other words, if one package they come up with a solution to, then everybody drops that one and they go to another. There's 25 of them, and those guys come out with a new version about every 3 or 4 months. And so they will migrate from plan to plan, and of course they all communicate out in the dark web where you can't find it. But so that whatever it is, you'll get the worst version out there probably if you get hacked. It's thrilling to know, but that's the reality of it. If you use POP3 mail programs, those are the ones where you download the email, remove the email off of the server so that the copy of email only exists on your computer. Do not forget to back up regularly your copy of the email files. And that can be a little bit tricky because my email file is too big to actually be backed up onto the OneDrive file. So I have to do a separate one on that. So, if you have any email program, if the primary file stays in the cloud, if you're using Exchange or if you're using IMAP, you shouldn't have any problems because Google or Apple or somebody out there is keeping the main file, and then you're just running a copy of it. If your copy gets smashed, you can just plug back in and you can get back up and running. But remember, the golden rule of this one is, if the hacker can see where your files are backed up, if you can see where your files are backed up, so can the hackers, and just start taking a look around your network and what's vulnerable, because everything you can see, two spouses share files on each other. If one of them gets hacked, the other one's going to get hacked, get crypto locked, whatever they're sharing. So you got to be careful about shares on your family network and all the rest of it. It gets nasty, and thinking about how to fix this gets even worse. But do spend some time thinking about it and try to fix whatever solutions you come up with. Make them ones you don't have to do yourself manually. Make sure that they're automatic. Okay. Several variants of the CryptoLocker cryptoviruses leave a hidden VPN tunnel so that once you've restored everything and you're up and running just beautifully, they can do it to you again. Isn't that wonderful? And you can't find the VPN tunnel very easily. They're very well hidden. So anyway, some people are saying if you get crypto locked, you should just do, no matter what, you should do a reinstall of the operating system and start over from scratch. And that may be good advice. The jury's still out on whether that works. And then several variants, including the one that I got, the Dharma Top wallet, leave the operating system so it will boot, but it won't do other basic functionality. And this one got us because we had all the data backed up, all the critical data anyway. But when we booted the server, it would come up, but nobody could talk to it. All the sharing was gone, and so nobody could see any files on the server. You couldn't open up Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome or any program like that. You couldn't do anything that a server is supposed to do. It just booted to allow you to see the message that you've been hacked. But anyway, so you really do need to have the ability to do a full system restore, because you may need to. Trying to decrypt all of the Windows files is not going to happen. So anyway, just be aware you may have to restore the OS as well as your data, and you better have an image files out. Okay, resources. The two at the top, and this is something that the good guy hackers do. The first bleepingcomputer.com, and there's a tendency to think, well, that isn't a safe site. Well, yes, it is. goldencomputer.com is probably a hacker site, but bleepingcomputer.com is probably a white hat hacker site. The next one is Foolish IT. And somebody told him later on, you could read that a little differently. I'll leave you to figure out how to do that. But it's Foolish IT. And he has a lot of really good information about all kinds of stuff for computers. But in addition to that, he has an excellent prevention tool. There's a free version, you can install it, but it's just static. If you don't update it regularly, you will eventually become a victim, or at least could fall victim of the latest and greatest hack. So, if you want to buy a copy for 1 year, he'll charge you $20. But if you want to subscribe or leave your credit card information for purchase next year, he charges you $15. And then, at the end of the year, if you don't cancel, he will charge you another $15. But it automatically updates the tool as rapidly as he finds a new hack and a new way of hitting you. He goes in and figures out a way to prevent it. He's very creative about how to do it. He's done some stuff I never would have thought of in terms of how to prevent this stuff. Very clever, very good guy, and don't let the name fool you. But those are really good sites. The next two Trend Micro's an antivirus company, so is Kaspersky, and both of them have libraries of decryptor tools. But unfortunately, they're mostly the older versions that you probably aren't going to get today or tomorrow. But they keep trying, and if the new ones come out, they will, one or the other of them will probably have the solution. Also, most of the sites have forums where you can search for and keep up to date on something if you did hack. I'm keeping up to date on the bleepingcomputer.com forum for my .wallet variant. And there's no good news yet, but I'm on page 80-something of about, I don't know, maybe 10 messages per page, so you can figure out a lot of us have been hit, and it's going on, it's been about a month now. But anyway, that pretty much gets it, and those are the resources. And questions, I'll take questions in a minute, but anyway, that's my information. My email is tech, and then they just said @ but it should be the @ sign, sipsug.org, or sipcug.org, if you prefer. And if anybody sends me anything at that address, I'll try to respond to you in a fairly short period of time. I'm more than happy to help out. I am really ticked at the cryptovirus stuff, because I thought we were protected and we weren't. A little bit embarrassed. And also mad at my customer because we had tried to put it was a remote desktop hit, and we had tried to put a stronger password on it. Client rejected it. That's the one I always use. I'll never remember anything else. And we acquiesced in that, which turned out to be a huge mistake. But anyway, he paid. Man, anyway, that's him. So if you have any questions for me, hit me up and let me know.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there.
Well, it was powerful.
Yeah.
But
I've got a few comments, and the easiest way for me to do it is I have his slideshow presentation, and that'll help me do a couple of it won't be difficult. You'll know it because every file will have a strange name on it. None of them will open. Your background could change to that. Of course, the idea is if you pay a ransom, will you get the code? Most people are getting the code because if the word got out that they weren't giving out the code, then nobody would ever pay. But how much is it worth to you? The one that's out now is called WannaCry. Interesting enough, if you're on Windows 10, no worry. At least for it. It affects every other version of Windows. In fact, it goes all the way to XP because there was a flaw in XP. A crack in the wall that's been here since XP that Microsoft didn't really clear up. And so the crack was there for XP, went to Vista, went to 7, went to 8. And because 10 is this whole new development, they redesigned things. It was so bad with the XP that Microsoft did send out the special update to protect anybody who hadn't got caught yet. That's how bad things were. I saw the article said that for the WannaCry, the ransom is $300. In 48 hours, it jumps to $600. And then there was another step, and then they finally said, Hong Kong, you're out of it. We're not going to mess with you. You've got a time limit. And again, this was the interesting part. There aren't that many creators of the crypto stuff. It's because I'll sell you the recipe. I've already developed it. Here, go use it. Give me a little money back for it. So that's why it's so hard to find, because the people who write it aren't the ones that are using it. Definitely on opening stuff that you don't want. Now, I have to notice, said, yeah, Linux does, because there are people who are trying to write for anything. The difference is between Linux and the Windows and Mac, Linux being open source, everybody sees all the coding for Linux. So if somebody tries to stick something in, thousands of people see it and it gets fixed right away, as opposed to Windows and Macs, who can have to have a longer period of time because it's a smaller group of people looking at it over it. Now, his things about this gets to be pretty conservative and limiting, that you don't open up attachments. But the rule that we try to say is don't open any attachment unless you were expecting it and know exactly what it is. And Mary Frances and I have talked that there are a number of times that your next step is, I write to David, David, did you send me an attachment? Because that email that I got from David wasn't really from David. It appeared to be from David.
I just called Jim Amore the other day.
The other day?
Got an email from him. I know it wasn't from him, but...
Don't click on the links in an email. Now, that means that I have to change my procedure. I always copy a full web address and paste it into email for you to click to go. So if it's saying don't you click on those links, that means I'm just going to put it in as plain text. You're going to have to highlight, copy, and paste that into your web browser to go there if you follow the rule that you're not going to click on my link. Now the problem is, we know there are people in our club, I don't know how to do that. Well, get in and learn. Because that's something that is basic. Copy and pasting things like that all the time. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to type that big long web address in yourself. And you can make worse mistakes by typing. Just don't open up everything.
John?
Yeah.
On one that was on that previous page, I had a question when he was talking about it. If a PDF asks for permission to open a Word or Excel document, click no and delete the PDF.
Yeah.
If that's a fake PDF, could they do the same thing he was talking about with the X and have a yes on top of the no so that you couldn't see it?
Well, No, because it's not the web. It's your program. The PDF program you're using, Adobe or Fox, that's your program. So you're closing that out. We're talking about the web is where you go to somebody's web page. On our web page, I can put invisible things all over if I wanted to. And you'd go clicking and who knows what happens.
So that wouldn't actually be an infected PDF.
No, the PDF itself would be infected, but you're running, your program is safe because that's your PDF reader. So close out, and delete it. Yeah, I even on my cookies and stuff, I tell my browsers do not add any third-party cookies. If I go to this website and I have to do a cookie, that's fine, but I don't want a third party that I don't even know about adding cookies to mine. David said we need to do image backups, and that's true if you want to be able to have all of your programs that you've installed to be able to copy back on. But when you made that backup, are you sure that backup was pure clean? Or are you going to restore a backup that's got some hidden stuff in it? You've got to make sure before you back up your system, you know it's going to be clean. The unplug. Now this also, he said, don't you do your own backup system. Now we had a whole afternoon here of talking about backup. And if you are in a good routine, you can. Rich Allen has a great routine. It's a program that runs on his computer and backs up his files that are new every night. The trick is it runs automatically and it turns off his external drive. So he doesn't have to unplug it, it's off. If your drive is plugged in, you can see it, the hackers can see it, and everything gets encrypted. It's got to be turned off and best unplugged. But then you got to remember to do it. You got to remember to plug it in, run your backup, unplug. If you're good at that, good. Laura?
Explain the relationship between the tablets and the Android phones and the cryptovirus. Does that mean that if I've got a text or an email or something that came in on my phone, it's going to infect my home computer too?
If you connect your phone to your computer, it could very well.
My Gmail is picked up on all three things. So does that answer the question? Am I connected?
Are you doing the Gmail where it's downloaded to all your devices, or is it still up in the cloud and you're just getting a copy?
I assume I'm just getting a copy, but I don't really know that. I might have to ask you more about that later.
Yeah, that's the way you set it up to do what they call that IMAP. And that way all you're doing is looking at the message up there. They're storing it, they're keeping it up there.
Okay.
But if you open up attachments and click on links, but that's for asking an Android person presenting this. Carbonite Mosey, he's right to back up your system. You wouldn't want to do that really, because I don't know if you know it, but when you do your internet, you get a download speed right now. Spectrum says a 60 meg download. Well, you only get 9, 8 upload. So whenever you're uploading your files, it's going slow. And so if you have to do all of your system, you can do it. Carbonite will. But then your file is so big. Well, here's the answer. If your computer gets corrupt, how are you going to use it to download the backup? Okay. So that's where we said you're going to probably have to reinstall either using the image or just your disks. Yeah, anything that's connected, it will see. So there, if you use POP, that means it's downloaded, and those programs can be encrypted. So if you have files there. Now, on this one, I don't think we're going to have time. I went to the foolish it and checked out. What happens is we have people who are saying, well, Malwarebytes has a paid part that will take care of ransomware. Now, what you've got to realize is it can take care of ransomware that it knows about. How does it take care, how do you get a virus shot for the flu when we don't know what flus are coming? Take a flu shot. So those programs that say that they can take care of the ransomware and protect you, yes, they can if it's a virus that they already know about. So if Mary Frances gets caught by a virus and then they figure out how to prevent it, then I get the program to prevent it. I won't get it, but she's already got it. Now, what I found very, very interesting is this Crypto Prevent, and the demo was amazing, is a program that puts files all over your computer. It's the paid one. And then what happens when that crypto virus goes and starts to change and encrypt their file, immediately your computer kind of locks up. And so then you have the option to shut down or reboot, but you want to shut down because you've got to get that cleared out. The Crypto Prevent is not a virus program that will erase, but it's going to prevent your files from being encrypted. So it doesn't matter what version, it doesn't care. What it cares about is that we have somebody in every room, and when somebody comes in one door, we push the panic button and everything shuts down. And in the demo that I watched, and you can watch it if you go to the Foolish IT, showed that the guy lost one file before he could get the computer locked up. The test files were encrypted because that's the first one that got encrypted. But the rest of the files were fine, except for one. And it was interesting, I think he showed on the video, that there were two files. One was the real file, one was a backup. It got one but not the other because it ran out of time. The program stopped it. Free John would say, and I'm not getting paid or anything, but at $15 a year, because you have to give them the credit cards because you're going to say you're going to renew it all the time, or just one time $20 and then do it at $20 again. To have a program that is watching all the time for anything that's trying to encrypt your files, that's not bad compared to if my files get encrypted, $300 right now. The average, I think somebody says is clear, is that I sent out to my groups, $1,000 is the average ransomware. Are your files worth $1,000? You have $1,000. Now, Ira has brought up the point. If you do what you're supposed to, you don't care. If you have backups to your documents and files, you don't care about ransomware. You laugh at it when it comes in because all you're going to do is restore all your files. You don't care how much that ransom is. But that's the problem. Most people don't have backups, and that's what is here. Mary Frances?
Please encourage everyone sitting here. There's probably a couple of us sitting here that have beautiful external hard drives. They don't know how to use them, and they won't ask us to show them how to use them. Please, guys, don't be bashful.
I ask John all the time.
And I don't know all the answers. That's why I brought Toby in here. That meeting that we had a couple of times ago showed a bunch of different ways. Carbonite will cost you some money, but Carbonite, it's a do it and forget it. So if you want something that you do and forget, Mosey or Carbonite. If you want to do it, you can do it with your Windows. You can do it with a third party like a Cronus, or there's a number of different good backup programs. Each of us could name. Well, I like this one. I like that one. That's fine. I don't care what you use. Back up. Because when you back up, you don't care. Well, you care. Because it's going to take some time. You've got to reinstall maybe your operating system. You've got to reinstall your files. But
No, I got a question here.
Okay.
While I'm backing up, if I can see my files, while I'm plugged in, they can see my files, I still got a chance of being hacked that way.
Right, but that's why you keep. Number one, you keep your computer up to date. Windows 10 now says you can't prevent us from updating. Every version backwards. We showed people how, and there was reason to do it. You could even say, don't ever back up my computer. Or do it certain ways. But the people who say, don't back up my computer, they're just asking for trouble. So keep your computer up to date. And number two, make sure that you have your protection. Now, we have people in our group who say, I don't use antivirus, I don't use a firewall, because I have all my files backed up. So if anything happens, no big deal. Well, I'd say, yeah, that's probably true, but I don't have the time. So have your protection. Whatever antivirus you want, whatever malware stuff that you want, have that. Keep it up to date. And be cautious. I don't understand why, and we all wonder, why did those 3 IT guys click? Because the boss did it. Now that wasn't fair. The boss was kind of taking them down a path that he figured they would go. But I would have fallen for it too. If it came from, Ken, oh, okay. But that's not fair because he did it intentionally just to prove that even the best ones click without thinking.
I got one other question.
Yeah.
My wife received a text message from my granddaughter, and it had a pin stuck with it. And as soon as she went to open it, ARAS brought up, "Don't open that link; it's dangerous." So we shut it. We deleted the link. It's got to clean out of there. Called the granddaughter and told her to take the phone back where she got it and have it inspected. She's got a virus in there. Now whether she did it or not, I don't know. But I told my wife we can't accept anything from her now.
How old is this woman?
Huh?
Your wife's grandmother?
I
How
can't.
old is this woman?
Who was it that had the phone, Ira?
Oh, my granddaughter, she's 27, 28.
Granddaughter?
Granddaughter.
Well, I said it was your grandmother, her grandmother.
What did you say, grandmother?
I heard grandmother too.
No, I said granddaughter.
The important part is, in this year, you have got to be on call. You've got to be proactive. I hate telling how dangerous the web is, but it is. I hate telling how dangerous email can be because we use it all the time, but it is. Because we have people who are out there that want to cause harm.
If we could get them over on Proton, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, for a start, yeah. All encrypted there. Anything else? Go ahead and check out on there that the foolishit.com. It was a good one. The video was good. It showed how when he had the program not on, clicked a link, and immediately within minutes, all of his files were gone, or they were there locked up. When he did it with it on, only a couple files got it. Now it was interesting because on another different video it showed one folder didn't get hit because the programmers didn't think about including that. And so the Crypto Prevent program, when you do the customizing, you can say, I want you to protect these files, documents, music, pictures, videos, and these extra files folders that I've created. So it puts, guardians and all those. So good. David.
Well, several times at home I've experienced a pop up on my screen where it was very clear to me that I was getting, I had been,
Scammed.
yeah, I was gonna be subject to encryption. What I did was, again, this has happened several times, is immediately unplug or force my computer to shut down by holding the power button in for 4 seconds. Best thing probably if you can reach your cord right away, it's just unplug your computer.
Might not like it, but do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the hope is that they don't have enough time to do something. They're waiting for you to think about it or whatever. I had somebody call, the latest trick they did besides a message pop-up, they trigger the speaker that's inside your computer to do a high-pitched sound, and it won't go off. You know, you can't click anything. So you quickly, I got to call that number because the warning's going off. I tell people, shut off the computer. Oh. Yeah. Sound goes away, the picture goes away. As Mary Frances said, and I'll speak for Jim if he doesn't mind, if you have questions, I'm going to get an external hard drive. They're cheap. 1 gigabyte I saw at Walmart was, 1 terabyte was like $54 or something. They're inexpensive, and you can get a lot of stuff on there. If you need help, there are a lot of us. You know, Everett from the repair group, Jim, me, Al, people who do it. We will gladly take the time to help you, figure out what you want to do. If you have questions about anything, about security, protection, whatever, we're here. This is your computer club. Call Mary Frances. Hey, Mary Frances, that was some good information. We want more. Can we have a program about this? Yeah,
Yeah, just a little experience I had about a year ago. Fred Wise, I work on his computer all the time, and he's totally illiterate. Well, somehow he contacted one of those cryptovirus things. Well, fortunately, before that, I had made an easiest backup of his entire system. That was an old backup, but he doesn't do a lot on his computer anyway. Anyway, he called me and says, I can't open my some files and stuff. And the first thing I thought, okay, he's got it. But anyway, funny thing about it, he couldn't open any Word documents, but he has Publisher documents. It didn't touch those. So, which was kind of, I thought that was kind of strange that it didn't touch those. But anyway, we did a backup and it took care of the problem. So,
and again, the same thing was that one folder. I don't remember now, I have to go back and watch the video, but it's the people who create the stuff that says, okay, go attack the documents, music, pictures, video, public documents, public video, public whatever, go to, look for a D drive, go do that. So, be careful.
That's the one we saw on the APCUG.
Right.
Right, but I just...
Yes, that's APCG.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we'll turn it back over to Jim and to Dave for those activities. We'll thank the people who joined us. We did have 5 people viewing our presentation on our Zoom that we have. And as long as we have a program that we can use a computer to connect to the internet, people can watch the program. So 5 people watched it today, and from outside, locally and away. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this presentation and stop my sharing.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, there's
Running that.
Rich or Bob Vance. Bob.
Oh, he's
Hi,
there.
Bob.
You haven't seen Bob? I'm just wondering. And there's the Bob V and there's Bob G here, and Juanita's there somewhere. So in her travels, and Rich was there. We turn off the microphones, and we usually turn off the camera so you don't see them. But so we've had people on here. So thanks to all those people. I'm going to end that meeting, and we'll chat with you later.